Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back and it's Monday, September 28th, and it is 10:28 p.m. Eastern Time. I know I'm late. I've been having some computer issues. I was off last night and I'm not sure if I did the night before or not. I've forgotten now because so much has happened. But anyways, have had some computer issues, including tonight, but I did manage to get it pulled together with the help of a friend so I could do my show tonight. Woohoo! So anyway, and the rest of the week should be all right now that we have this ironed out. So anyway, let's get into the news. But first, I want to thank the following people. An Anon, well, coffee supporter, Anon, same difference. These three people donated via coffee, and I do appreciate it because I'm not monetized, so it does help me do what I do, definitely. And Naomi and Trump's for Life. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. And let's jump into the news. This is the second time that I've tried tonight. So let's just hope and that everything goes all right, because I do want to get this out to you. Okay. Well, this is number one, not in any particular order, just taking them as we come to them. Questions about Biden's health are raised after he suffers bizarre brain freeze, causing MSNBC host to feed him a line. All right. This was September 26th, and I want to bring this to your attention because, well, for a couple reasons. Yes, we know that Joe Biden is not mentally capable of holding the presidency. We know that. He's certainly not, morally capable of holding it. He's capable, but he's not moral person. He has no moral compass, and he has shown us that in his, 47 years in politics. What has he done? What has he done? I'll tell you, he's had a lot of racial remarks and things that really President Trump would never have gotten away with that. But I do think that there is a danger here, and let me tell you what I think. A lot of the alternative media sources and so forth are jumping on every single thing that this man does, and I think that there is enough legitimate things that he's doing to focus on rather than focusing on some of the gaffes are really in your face, like this one. It is in your face. I mean, and there's obviously an issue with his cognitive ability. There's no question there at all. On Friday, former Vice President Joe Biden suffers a major brain freeze during an interview with MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle, who was forced to jump in and save Biden from embarrassing himself even more. For example, the Payment Protection Act, 1% of the money has gone out, he said. Let's come down here. 1% of the that's not the paycheck, the bill for small businesses, Biden said, as he was saved by Ruhle, who corrected him. Main Street lending, she said. Well, all right, let's just have a look at that.
For example, the Paycheck Protection Act. 1% of the money's gone out. 1%. 1% of the that's not the paycheck. The bill for small businesses. Main Street lending, 1%'s gone out.
So, okay, there's that gaffe, and yes, that's obviously, but here's the thing. Every time he says something isn't proof that, for example, down here, we have this one. Now, this one, I think, okay, they're calling this out, but I don't really think it should be called out. And I'm one of those people that if I'll defend somebody, even if it's not somebody that should be defended. Now, obviously, I don't agree with his politics one bit. Do I think that he's cognitively able to handle the presidency? Not on your life. He doesn't have the moral character to be president. He fails in every single measure. However, this, I think, Well,
That's why I made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago, you know, as well as my tenure as vice president.
now,
That's why I made it a priority.
everybody is pointing to this and saying, well, this proves how out of it he is because he thinks that he's been in the Senate for 180 years. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He chuckled after. He was making a joke. You know, like, I know my mother used to say, oh, yeah, you know, that was back before electricity and more, you know, what she's not saying that, you know, she's basically saying, well, I was born before there were this and that, and it was back when, you know, Noah came over on the ark. And of course, nobody takes her seriously and thinks, does she really think that she was here when Noah came, you know, had the ark? No, of course not. He was making a joke, but because he is declining cognitively, people point at that and say, oh, look at that poor guy. He thinks, you know, he's been there 180 years. No, he doesn't. He was making a joke. Like, come on, guys. And I'm not saying you guys, but a lot of people jump on him for that. And I don't think there's enough reasons to pick on Joe without us inventing some. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, that doesn't mean, up here it says, this recent brain freeze raises many questions about Biden's health and his fitness for office. Will Biden be able to handle the workload of being president? Well, we already know the answer to that. He can't even handle the workload of running for president. Do you really think he could keep up with the days that Trump puts in? Not even close. Not even close. Will Biden be able to mentally handle his duties on a daily basis? No. No, he won't. And we've seen that. He gets confused. He gets lost. He loses himself. He's not somebody that you would put on the world stage as one of the most powerful leaders in the free world and not have the rest of the world be like, what? Yeah. Will the American people be able to rely on Biden as our president? Well, could we rely on him as our vice president? The answer is no. Look what he did while in the office of vice president. So can we rely on him as our president? Obviously not. He couldn't even handle being vice president. Not honorably. So I think that answers itself. But the second one, it's saying this isn't the only embarrassment for Biden. On Saturday during a virtual campaign event, Biden said he'd got into the Senate a whopping 180 years ago. Come on, give the guy a break. You know, we fault the mainstream media for doing this exact same thing to Trump. Now, if Trump had said that and made a joke, oh, what an idiot. He thinks that, you know, seriously. You know, that's how the mainstream media treats Trump. So I think that we should take the higher ground here. And I don't think that that is something that he needs to be, you know, held to task over, because he was obviously making a joke. And anybody that doesn't clearly see that, well, I don't know. All right, let's go back now because there's more to get into. There sure is. All right, this is a verifiable reason to, you know, to dog him. But the last, not so much. All right. Historically, Black University humiliates Biden after he claims to have started out there. Now, this is fresh from today. It's hot and fresh. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden hinted that he started his academic career at Delaware State University, a historically black college. However, Delaware State University has gone on record to say that former vice president was never a student at the institution. Biden made the assertion while on a campaign trail in October 2019 during a town hall event held at the historic Wilson High School in Florence, which was founded in 1866 by the Freedmen's Bureau for Black Children. Biden made the unfounded claim. I got started out at HBCU, Delaware State. Now, I don't want to hear anything negative about Delaware State, Biden told the audience. They're my folks. Carlos Holmes, the director of news service for Delaware State, said Biden was never a student at the school. Vice President Biden did not attend DSU, Holmes told Washington Times. on Thursday. Holmes noted that the former vice president had made appearances at the university. However, he was the commencement keynote speaker in 2003 and 2016, and during the former, he was awarded an honorary doctoral degree, Holmes said. Biden went on to win the South Carolina Democratic primary, which resurrected his campaign after disappointing results in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. In Biden's 2007 memoir, Promises to Keep, the former VP talked about his time as a freshman at the University of Delaware, but there is no mention of Delaware State University. Earlier this month, the Biden campaign named Delaware State University President Tony Allen to the campaign's Transition Team Advisory Council. Allen was previously a speechwriter in Biden's Senate office. The Biden campaign did not immediately respond to a request for comment by the Washington Times. Biden's latest controversy comes only days after another resurfaced video clip shows him seemingly denigrating U.S. military service members by calling them stupid bastards. Well, he deserved that for calling out Trump for things that he said that he never said. And everybody says he never said them. But Biden called out Trump for the way he treated the military, when actually he has nothing but the highest respect for our military. But he had a lot of nerve when he had spoken that way himself just a couple weeks, and he really did say it. Not like Trump, who actually never said those things. Biden made the remarks during a visit to Abu Dhabi on March 7th, 2016, and I want you to know, notwithstanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. I guess he's humble too. One, I married Jill Biden, Biden said in the video, and two, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Clap for that, you stupid bastards. Can you imagine saying that to a bunch of military men? Biden continued, come on, man. Man, you are a dull bunch. Must be slow here, man. I don't know. Biden campaign confirmed that the video is real and said that he was joking. Well, I don't think that's joking. Not at all. He's mad because they're not more enthusiastic. You know, how dare they not bow and scrape and grovel at his feet. Vice President Biden was jokingly encouraging the audience to clap for an airwoman on the stage, and a number of service members can be seen laughing and smiling at the comment. Andrew Bates, a spokesperson for the Biden campaign, said, watch, Biden claims he got started out of the HBCU Delaware State when he did not attend the university.
I got started out of HBCU, Delaware State. I don't want to hear anything about Delaware State, okay?
Okay, that it's very, very tinny and very echoey, so I'm not going to play that, but he did say that he attended the university, and he did not. He definitely did not. All right, well, let's move on now because there's more to get to. And let me just make sure that everything's perking along okay over here, and it appears to be. So, all right, we're good to go then. Yeah. All right, and let's look at this. This is a day old at least. Election fraud. This is from yesterday. Election fraud. Project Veritas uncovers alleged ballot harvesting in Representative Ilhan Omar's district. Oh my. Yeah, well, if this doesn't get her deported, I don't know what will. Not just thrown out of Congress. She needs to be deported. She really does. She is not good for this country. All right. President Donald Trump has been voicing his concern about election fraud for months, and it appears he was right. Now, new undercover video by citizen journalist James O'Keefe and founder of Project Veritas reveals possible shocking ballot harvesting. O'Keefe posted explosive video on Sunday night revealing what appears to be a concerted effort by supporters of Representative Ilhan Omar to ballot harvest in Minnesota's 5th district for candidates. Of course, these were all Democratic candidates. Well, of course, numbers do not lie. They're here are all absentee ballots. My car is full, alleged ballot harvester said. O'Keefe tweeted out the breaking news saying Omar is connected, cash for ballots harvesting scheme exposed. He quotes one ballot harvester in the undercover video saying that money is the king in everything. The ballot harvester boasts that he has helped harvest hundreds of 2020 ballots illegally, O'Keefe claims. Numbers do not lie. Here are all the absentee ballots. My car is full, the harvester added. In the same clip, a woman claims the ballots were harvested from a large elderly apartment facility in the area. Watch the video below and decide for yourself about the issue of election fraud in the United States. And it says, breaking, Ilhan Omar connected, cash for ballots harvesting scheme exposed. Money is the king in everything, harvester boasts. All right. They say voter fraud doesn't exist. They say there is no evidence. They say the evidence hasn't been substantiated. And in a world where people don't believe what they read or hear, many people just need to see. And that is the truth. So, let's see what this is. I'm not sure how long this is. If we can...
James O'Keefe here in downtown Minneapolis at the scene of the crime. The person you're about to meet, Liban Mohammed, a.k.a. King Liban I, boasts about the hundreds of absentee ballots in his car.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Wajeda gaarigaygu waa buuxaa. Waxaas waa absent ballot salka yaala. Soo ma jeedin. Fiiri, waxaas oo dhan soo ma jeedin. Waa buuxaa gaarigaygu. Waa buuxaa yaala. Waxaas kullu waa Jamal Usman way. Fiiri. 300 clear maanta soo dhacday waa Jamal Usman. Yeah.
There was video. You could see the video. There was a video out and about that he has the ballots in his car.
Right.
And talking about the only way you can win is with money. I was looking at them and they were not filled. They were blank.
Who is the one filling out the absentee ballots?
People who work with, like in Omar.
Where do they pay the money?
The minute we sign the thing, the election, that's what you can pay.
Money is everything. Money is the key in this world. If you ain't got money, you should not be here, period.
At the end of the street,
Yes.
there's 3 towers of 1 house.
Okay.
And it's all seniors, and they took every ballot.
Every ballot. They just take them from
single
them.
ballot. They knock on the door and say, your ballots, come give it to me, give it to me.
They don't even pay them for it. They just take it.
No. And the ones that didn't vote on ballots, the young people and the women and stuff, they were paying cash. They were getting bags of money the last 1 week, to drive people. So there's a vested interest, but we are victims of the system. They don't give a shit about any money.
4 in the morning, still hustling.
Who is the one filling out the absentee ballots?
People who work with, like in Omar and other candidates who work for them. They came to us to our apartments. They tell us that this year you're going to go for it. You don't go nowhere, you stay home, we will tell you fill out for your absentee ballot. When it comes, we'll come and get it. You just don't go nowhere, you stay here. So they fill out for us.
Wow. So, that is absolutely sobering, because that's what's happening. And don't think it's just happening there. It's happening everywhere. Now, maybe not on such a grand scale, but can you imagine? They just go to the, people where buildings, they know the elderly live, they just knock on the door and they ask for their ballots and they give them to them. And, these people get paid cash for delivering these ballots back so that they can be filled out. It's unbelievable. Now, how can we ever, if they tell us a Biden won, how could we ever believe that? Because really, we all know that that's just not possible. Not possible. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I pray that this doesn't just, go under the wire and nothing's done about it, because this is just too much. There are people that do not have good things planned for America that are trying to take us over this way, through our own systems, through our own political systems. They say voter fraud doesn't exist. They say there's no evidence. I read that previously. Now, let's see what this is here.
They say voter fraud doesn't exist.
They say there is no evidence. They say the evidence hasn't been substantiated.
I just want to point this out really quickly, okay? If you are aware of ballot harvesting anywhere, if you see ballots tossed somewhere, call or email Veritas Tips at protonmail.com. Veritas Tips at protonmail.com. Yeah. Anyway, let's listen to the rest of this.
And in a world where people don't believe what they read or hear, maybe people just need to see. They'll try to ruin the reputations of those who expose them. But at the end of the day, those who try to stop us from getting the story will fail. And we, the people who are getting the story, will succeed. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's Project Veritas is doing wonderful, wonderful work. So, all right, let's come back now and let's look at this. This is a piece of good news. Don't often get that anymore, do we? All right, Trump gets a third nomination for Nobel Peace Prize. 3, count them, 3. Yeah, take that, Obama. A group of 4 Australian law professors have nominated the U.S. President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, the third nomination he's received in recent weeks. So, I just wanted to, I'm not going to read the rest of that, but I just wanted to let you know, because that is very good news. We should be proud of him, and I think we all are. And let's look at this. All right. Biden says he could stay at home during the pandemic because black women stacked grocery shelves. Now, this is an example of something that should be called out. Not the 180 years. This should be called out. As soon as I heard this, I went, really, I did. This didn't get much attention, but it does display what Joe Biden thinks of black people, and we know he doesn't think too much. During a recent unscripted presser, Joe Biden told the audience the reason he was able to stay sequestered at home during the pandemic was because black women stocked the grocery shelves. There was no black men, there was no white men, no white kids or white women, no kids trying to earn after school money. No, it was black women. They're the ones that stock grocery shelves, apparently. All right, so let's listen.
American public, the blinders have been taken off. They've all of a sudden seen a hell of a lot clearer. You see, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf.
Run.
Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no!
Yeah.
Oh, hell!
I'm sorry, but that's funny. I don't care who you are. Ah, hell no. Here is a longer video from his September 16 unscripted presser. The mainstream media is nowhere to be seen. Well, of course not. It says, Joe Biden unscripted, warning, the following is a total disaster.
You see, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf. Where is that, people are figuring out that there's whether you have a mental problem, disease, it's a disease of the brain. Thank you. All right. Where am I? Okay.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't know. Do you think he's fit to be president? Yeah, I didn't think so. All right, let's go on now because we can. That's the reason we should. All right, and let's look at this. Alrighty then. Now, if this doesn't make you smile, ain't nothing gonna make you smile. Just saying. Now look at our president. And look at Pepe, and you know how Pepe always does this. It's a QAnon thing. If you're not into QAnon, then you probably won't get this. But you know, Pepe always does this. Well, let's look. Like, he's making it so obvious now. He's just trolling right out in the open. He doesn't care anymore. He's like the honey badger. All right, let's listen.
We're all working very hard on that.
Now, that was intentional. You know that was intentional. Let's look one more time.
We're all working very hard on that.
Now, that's awesome. Really, that's awesome. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, and this from Candace Owens. It's time for our Department of Justice to begin looking into the New York Times. I don't care what you think of Trump. If government officials are turning over an individual's federal documents in an effort to sway an election, it is a federal crime of epic proportions. Well, it seems like everything they do is an epic crime. Look what they've been doing to Trump way back. I mean, seriously, even before he was president. It's unbelievable. And just to cheer you up, I've got another picture of Trump doing the Pepe. Yep. So I probably smeared my lipstick all over my face. So there he is again, in case, you know, people think, oh, that was just I mean, how obvious do you have to get? Yeah. So people that say, oh, Q, it's a conspiracy. Trump doesn't, you know, he doesn't support it. He doesn't believe in it, whatever. Oh, really? Really? All right. Now, I like this, and you're going to like this too. I think you will. Riders could lose federal unemployment benefits under new bill. Well, hello. That is like the most sensible thing I've heard in a long, long time. If you're going to riot, if you're going to cause damage, why should the government pay you unemployment, whatever it is that you're receiving from the government? If you're going to actively damage government property, you know, yeah, I'm all for that. I really am. A newly proposed bill by Indiana State Representative Jim Banks seeks to ban protesters who have been convicted of serious crimes while rioting from receiving federal unemployment assistance. Well, I think that sounds good. Banks' bill, which is known as Support Peaceful Protest Act, will seek protesters who are convicted of crimes like vandalism, looting, and violence become ineligible for unemployment benefits. They would also be held financially liable for federal policing and other similar expenses relating to their crime. I think that's reasonable. They're not saying that if you go out and you're peacefully protesting something, they're going to take away your benefits. That's not what he's saying at all. He's saying those that are actually rioting, looting, arson, that damage. That's what they're talking about. In a press release, Banks commented, Antifa thugs are descending on suffering communities, disrupting peaceful protests and leaving violence, looting, and vandalism in their wake. They turned Milwaukee, Seattle, and Portland into war zones, and now they're moving the chaos to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Who knows which community is next? He said he was inspired to introduce the bill after protesters harassed an elderly couple who are his constituents while they left President Trump's Republican nomination acceptance speech at the White House last week. Banks tweeted an image of the couple being taunted by a masked man accusing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of not doing enough to stop this type of behavior. Banks, who was deployed to Afghanistan as part of the U.S. Navy Reserve, added that many riders have the time to commit this violence because they are unemployed and receive government benefits, and they're also being paid by Soros, including the higher federal benefits that are aimed at people who lost their jobs during the pandemic. He added that while peaceful protests are part of being American, hurting other people and damaging federal property is unacceptable. Due to enhanced federal benefits, taxpayers are giving wages to jobless riders that are destroying our communities. We need to cut them off from their funding and make them feel the full financial consequences of their actions, he stated. They're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in protest-related damages. I'm not going to read the rest of this, but I think it is a very, very good idea. All right, let's go back now and let's look at this. Sure glad I don't live in the UK. Of course, we're not far behind here. UK COVID police start enforcing lockdown by visiting people's homes. Now, believe it or not, they're doing this in Canada as well. Like if you travel to another province in Canada and you come back, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. You have to be at home by yourself or quarantining with your family, and you are not allowed to go out. So you have to have somebody bring you groceries, whatever you need. And they come to your house and they check to make sure you're there. And if you're not, you get taken to a quarantine facility against your will and kept there until they say you can leave. Yeah, and nobody knows where you are. So this is just, to me, this is all, this whole COVID thing was just a ruse to bring in the New World Order, and it's working. It's working. Look at the measures. People wouldn't have, do you think, I would never have thought I would be confined to my home. I never, ever, ever thought that in a million years. But yet, here we are. I mean, we've got a little bit of freedom now, but let me tell you. All right, police in the UK are set to begin enforcing COVID lockdown rules by knocking on people's doors to check that they are self-isolating if they have been mandated to do so by the government. It's the same in Canada. The Daily Mail reports that the procedure will go into effect today and will extend to anyone who has tested positive or come into contact with someone who has tested positive for the virus. The government will use the National Health Service Test and Trace app, which has been downloaded by more than 10 million Britons, to issue self-isolation orders to the public. Well, goody. Police also operate from tip-offs, according to the report. In other words, police will rely on snitch neighbors who report infractions. Anyone found to be breaking the quarantine rules could be fined up to £10,000. Employers who obligate those affected to go to work could also be fined. The UK Home Secretary, Priti Patel, announced Sunday that the government will not allow those who break the rules to reverse the hard-won progress made by the law-abiding majority. The government announced that it will use police resources to check compliance and that police will investigate and prosecute high-profile and egregious cases of non-compliance, as well as act on instances where third parties have identified others who have tested positive but are not self-isolating. They're turning us into a bunch of snitches, watching our neighbors, reporting on them. When did that happen before? Oh, that's right. Yeah, Nazi Germany. The government announced it will use police resources to check compliance, and the police will investigate and prosecute high-profile and egregious cases of non-compliance. Okay, I read that already. While people who comply remain trapped at home for up to 2 weeks, COVID enforcers have been patrolling the streets, peering into windows and letterboxes to ensure pubs and clubs are closed as part of the government's draconian new coronavirus curfew. Yeah. And it says, Pub Stasi, UK rent-a-mob patrol streets to check if bars are open. There you go. Can you imagine? These are law-abiding citizens being treated like criminals because of something that kills less than 1% of the people that get it. Yeah. All right. Now, let's look at this. Okay, this is the same thing about the Project Veritas, so I'm going to skip that so that we can get to everything here. And there's this. Meet corrupt James Comey's brother, Peter. As if one Comey brother is not enough. Apparently it's not. Because we've got James Comey's corrupt brother, Peter Comey. And guess what he does for a living? That's right. He's a Clinton Foundation attorney. Well, it just all runs in the family, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Corn, ready for to be cut. Absolutely. Peter Comey is an attorney for the Clinton Foundation and has been for years. The corporate media forgot to point this out. I'm sure they meant to. Sure they did. Yeah. All right, let's look at this. Because we can. And let me just check on this because I've had problems, so I want to be sure that we are recording, and we are. So woohoo! Makes me happy. All right. Now, video. I like this Wayne Dupree. I really do. I think he's got a good show. He picks up on good stories. Watch how desperately Jill Biden avoids Jake Tapper's question on her husband's gaffes. I think this is very, very interesting. Not only is she, I don't know, I don't understand this woman. I'm just putting that out there. I don't understand this woman. I would not, if that was my husband, I would be doing everything in my power to protect him from the public eye. Because what is happening to Joe Biden is elder abuse, plain and simple. So let's take a look at this. Well, that's not it. And it says, well, this is clearly a sensitive subject. During an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper, Jill Biden desperately dodged questions on her husband's constant gaffes, saying, you can't even go there. So here it is right here. So let's listen.
Strong, resilient. It's like night and day between the two candidates. And so I can't wait for the American people to see Joe, to see that statesman up there in front of the American public.
Your husband has been known
look at how far apart
to
they
make
are.
the occasional gaffe.
You can't even go there. You can, after Donald Trump, you
Well, that's what I
cannot
want.
even say the word
I can't even say the word gaffe.
Nope.
But you're not.
Nope. Done. It's gone.
The gaffe issue is over. Because
Over. So over.
What do you think about the fact that President Trump is hemming and hawing when it comes to the issue of an orderly transition of power should he lose on November 3rd?
Well, we'll have to, I'm hoping that there is, and Joe intends on an orderly transition of power. Right now, Donald Trump is supposed, this is Donald Trump's America. This is the chaos and, just going off the cuff with this comment or that comment. No, we go back to Joe Biden. We have calm. We have steady leadership. We don't have all this chaos in America.
That's because Joe Biden's usually sleeping. He wouldn't know chaotic if it slapped him in the face. Because he's just like, he just dozes off. Anyway, so Joe Biden, they can dish it out, but they sure can't take it. Doesn't want to talk about the gaffes. Yeah, well, there you go. Now, as I have said before, I'm encouraging you all to go out and stock up on food. You can always eat it. It's not like you're just wasting money. But seriously, I am hearing this everywhere. So this says food shortages are already here. The supply chain is broken. If you are a reader of this site, you might be more interested in the food supply chain than most, at least when things are good. So, if you have been paying attention recently, you might find that there have been some severe disturbances in that supply chain. Several months ago, the immediate disruptions began at the beginning of the COVID-19 hysteria when factories, distribution centers, and even farms shut down under the pretext of flattening the curve. As a result, Americans found necessities were missing on the shelves. For the first time in years, items like hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes were, of course, out of stock. Soon other items became noticeably missing as well. People began to notice meat, and even canned vegetables and rice were soon missing from the shelves. Most of this was simply the result of mass panic buying, although preppers were blamed for hoarding. Therefore, people who have not been prepping all along and were suddenly caught with their pants down. But that's not the whole story. Manufacturing and packaging facilities and slaughterhouses shut down due to intrusive totalitarian government reactions to an alleged pandemic. Combined with panic buying, those facilities' ability to replace what was bought up was drastically reduced. As a result, consumers were forced to wait weeks before buying what they needed or wanted. Again, even then, they had to show up in the morning. We are still experiencing those shortages, though better hidden. As anyone who shops regularly can tell you, you can find what you need, but you may have to go to 3 stores to get it, where one would have done in the past. In this article, you'll find some advice about dealing with the limited varieties of inventory that people are currently noticing at stores. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is not exactly what I thought it would be. But this is not, I thought this was going to be a lot more helpful than it is. It's not really. We all know that these shortages, they're not, a lot of these shortages are here. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to the grocery store, the beef is up. Everything I'm noticing, like maybe 25 cents on this item, 50 cents on this item, but then it'll jump up by $2 or $3 at a time. And like I've started, things that are cheap that I can buy in bulk, like beans and rice. I'm getting those because you can live forever. Well, not maybe forever, but a long time on beans and rice because it forms a complete protein. So yeah, and yeah, it might not be great variety, but it'd keep me alive if I needed to. So there you go. Anyway, I do want to warn you about the food shortages and what is coming, because they are, well, even the UN is saying that there's going to be massive food shortages. So please, 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 at least go out when you can. Or, I even go through the coupons and I find, okay, well, if I get a jar of peanut butter, I get one for free. So I'm going to get that and I'll put the one away. And I do things like that to save me money. And, like beans were on for 88 cents a can, which was really, really good here. So I just bought I think I bought 30 cans. So that's what I do. When it's on sale, I buy it and put it away. And I really don't, because I eat out of that as well. I mean, there's plenty there to last, but I eat out of that supply. So I really don't notice it. I just try to shop carefully and make use of coupons, because really you can actually do really, really well with coupons. You really can. It takes some organizing, but you can. All right, so let's move on now and get to the next thing. Yeah, I thought this is not really, well, I wanted to bring it to you because I just thought it was an interesting and horrifying. Journalist tweets Kyle Rittenhouse should be stabbed to death in prison. Twitter slammed for lack of action after suspending users for defending Rittenhouse. Yes, now Rittenhouse was the guy that he was being shot at, and he was the Trump supporter that they were there for the prayer meeting or whatever, and he actually ended up shooting 2 of them. One of them had a gun aimed at him and so forth. It was definitely self-defense, but yeah, there was somebody defending. Well, actually, Twitter will suspend you for defending him, first of all. Second of all, this journalist tweets that Kyle Rittenhouse should be stabbed to death in prison. He's a child. Conservatives have been up in arms over Twitter's failure to remove a journalist's call for teen shooter Kyle Rittenhouse to be murdered in prison, while at the same time wiping out tweets in his support. Journalist Dustin Nichols tweeted on Saturday that Rittenhouse, who was charged with murder after shooting 3 people last month in Kenosha, should be stabbed to death in prison. The post elicited an avalanche of angry reaction from conservatives, while also promoting questions about Twitter's censorship after the company declined to delete the tweet for 20 hours and counting. The real hero will be the inmate that stabs Kyle to death once he gets booked, Nichols said. That is outrageous. Those who support the team say he was acting in self-defense while being chased by protesters when he killed 2 people and injured 1 during riots in Kenosha on August 25th. Others argue that it was intentional murder. No, it wasn't. Malkin responded on Sunday to Nichols' call to kill Rittenhouse, urging Fight Back and other Rittenhouse supporters to please let this thug know how you feel about his disgusting tweet. She also urged supporters to report the tweet to Twitter Safety and Twitter founder Jack Dorsey, which some commenters said they had already done. Well, that doesn't do anything. Jack Dorsey's the biggest twit out there. Why do you think they called it Twitter? Anyway, earlier this month, Twitter suspended the account of Lynn Wood, the lawyer who launched Rittenhouse Legal Defense Fund, saying he violated an unspecified rule. The social media platform also has locked the accounts of prominent conservative writers such as Ann Coulter and Cassandra Fairbanks for tweeting support for Rittenhouse. Twitter said such messages were condoning an act of violence. Wood said he plans to sue Twitter and Dorsey for briefly suspending his account. I hope he does. Nichols described himself as a straight-edge, tattooed nerd and said he had done freelance writing for a range of small outlets. So there you go. Yeah. All right. And let's look at this. I think he'll enjoy this one too. Okay. And this, my conservative U.S., the authors of the New York Times hit piece confirms that Trump paid millions in 2016-2017 taxes. Here are the numbers. Joe Biden's campaign wasted no time to cash in on the bombshell report from the New York Times on Donald Trump's federal income tax payments, which found the president paid no income taxes in 10 out of 15 years since 2000. A few hours after the Times released its finding, the Biden campaign's fundraising website released new vinyl stickers that read, "I paid more income tax than Donald Trump." It also released an ad detailing the average income tax payments for elementary school teachers, firefighters, construction managers, and nurses. The ad ended with what Trump reportedly paid in 2017, $750, according to the Times. The information for the piece was likely illegally leaked from the IRS to the Times, and the Biden campaign released an ad attacking President Trump on his tax burden following the New York Times release. Funny how that happens, huh? It's almost as if they are coordinating their attacks. No, they couldn't be. Of course they are. But it seems that was just another fake news show. While reading the article from the New York Times hit piece, we noticed that the authors admit President Trump paid $1 million in taxes in 2016 and $4 million in taxes in 2017. As he settled into the Oval Office, his tax bills soon returned to form. His potential taxable income in 2016 and 2017 included $24.8 million in profits from sources related to his celebrity status and $56.4 million for the loans he did not repay. The dreaded alternative minimum tax would let his business losses erase only some of his liability. Each time he requested an extension to file his 1040, and each time he made the required payment to the IRS for income taxes he might owe, $1 million for 2016 and $4.2 million for 2017, but virtually all that liability was washed away when he eventually filed, and most of the payments were rolled forward to cover potential taxes in future years. To cancel out the tax bills, Mr. Trump made use of $9.7 million in business investment credits, at least some of which related to his renovation of the old post office hotel, which qualified for a historic preservation tax break. Although he had more than enough credits to owe no taxes at all, his accountants appear to have carved out an allowance for a small tax liability for both 2016 and 2017. When they got to line 56, the one for income taxes due, the amount was the same each year, $750. So this was just another campaign trick and more fake news. Trump paid, as in transferred to the U.S. Treasury, $1 million in 2016 and $4.2 million in 2017. Note also that most of the overpayment was rolled forward, not refunded. The $750 figure is an additional $750. Thus, every single story saying he paid $750 is a lie. It is not simply a lie. It proves that the person making the statement either did not read the story itself by the insanity of the whatever, or lacked the mental ability to comprehend that the New York Times itself claims that Trump paid $1 million in 2016 and $4.2 million in 2017. The claim that Trump paid only $750 in federal taxes in 2016 and 17 is thus a complete and total lie. I hope Trump sues. I hope he can, and I hope he does. Anyway, I mind when people lie. I mind more when people lie to me about something I can disprove in minutes. And there's something even more worrisome than the New York Times appears not to have seen the actual returns. Read this closely and you'll see something very disturbing indeed. The Times examined and analyzed the data from thousands of individual and business tax returns for 2000 through 2017, along with additional tax information from other years. The trove included years of employee compensation information and records of cash payments between the president and his businesses, as well as information on ongoing federal audits of his taxes. This article also draws upon dozens of interviews and previously unreported material from other sources, both public and confidential. Did you see it? The years of employee compensation. So the New York Times was given compensation information for people who are not Donald Trump? Yeah, that's right. There should make everyone spit fire from their eyes or their butt, one or the other. I think it would be more impressive from the butt, but I could be wrong. What the hell does the New York Times have to employee compensation? The Trump tax returns illustrate three primary things: no unreported connections to Russia, mainstream media journos and DNC hacks do not understand how running a business and managing assets work tax-wise, or any-wise. Unlike Biden, President Trump didn't profit from his office. So they should be looking at this whole tax thing as a good thing because it proves nothing, absolutely nothing. But they try to make it say what they wanted to say, as always. And I hope there is some way that Trump can sue them, because that should not be legal, especially from people who call themselves journalists. All right, and let's move into this. I don't know what this is, to tell you the truth, but let's find out together. Why not? Alleged attacker behind carnage at pro-Trump event linked to Caravan for Justice group. Now I know what it's talking about, and this is from yesterday, but it's still fresh. It's pretty fresh. Casual readers taking in the first few paragraphs of the story of a vehicle attacking protesters in South Carolina would already think that they know the kind of person the perpetrator is. A vehicle struck at least 2 people in Yorba Linda on Saturday during a Black Lives Matter protest and counter-protest, marking the second incident in 3 days involving vehicles careening through protesting crowds in the Southland. In Los Angeles, KCBS TV in Los Angeles reported the Black Lives Matter march was going along Imperial Highway with the counter-protesters holding pro-President Donald Trump signs on the other side, and about 200 officers were monitoring the demonstrations. For most readers, the impression is clear. Another racist van, a vehicle through the Black Lives Matter protesters. This is just sick, they might think. Absolutely sick. And it's got to be pro-Trump fringe. However, the more perceptive might notice something strange about the KCBS coverage. The station is a bit cagey about who committed this act and what the motives were. If this was a snarling mask hater in a MAGA hat and a Ram pickup trying to hit anti-racist demonstrators, that's usually mentioned straight off the bat, particularly the MAGA hat, which is the definitive sign of any political villain. Instead, silence. Readers who go down a bit further would learn that just after 3 p.m., a woman injured 2 people when her vehicle ran through the crowd. The report doesn't say which crowd. A male adult suffered 2 broken legs and 1 female adult suffered moderate injuries, Orange County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Dennis Breckner told reporters, according to KCBS. And the car was caught on video, and officials eventually surrounded the vehicle of 40-year-old Tatiana Turner of Long Beach, who was taken into custody, the report stated. Again, no indication of motive. The article touches on the protesters being arrested at the event on Saturday and how Turner was booked into jail on charges of attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. In paragraph 9, it finally mentions that Turner was a member of the Caravan for Justice. There's your first hint about the political leanings of the suspected assailant. Yeah. What is Caravan for Justice? I'm glad you asked, because KCBS clearly thought this wasn't worth exploring. The Long Beach Press Telegram barely touched on it either. in its write-ups of the event, simply saying Turner was a supporter and that the group campaigned against police violence. ABC News mentioned the group in the first paragraph of its coverage, but there was little exploration of what the group did. ABC was a bit more explicit about what had happened, noting that Turner allegedly drove through a group of protesters, many wearing Trump flags, outside the Yorba Linda Public Library at about 3 p.m. local time. 2 people, a man and a woman, were hit by the car, with both suffering major injuries. Both are expected to survive, officials said. Turner's social media is an unsettling look at the individual wholly envenomed by the less savory aspects of the current protest movement. Turner, whose Facebook profile was under the name Tia Turner, wasn't just involved with the Caravan for Justice group. As of Sunday afternoon, she was still an admin on its Facebook page. Other media reports about Caravan for Justice identify her as a protest organizer. The group hosts socially distanced protests using cars, an issue when those cars are turned into weapons. Saturday's protest, which really seemed like a counter protest aimed at fighting the conservatives and Trump supporters in attendance, was widely advertised on Caravan for Justice's Instagram page with the caption, "Today is the main event. Help us combat racism. These racists are on full alert. Please do the same. Please be careful." As it turns out, it should have been the Caravan for Justice opponents who were on alert. Turner's individual posts were also eerily telling. Here's a live stream from Taylor in June, which didn't exactly evince a rational person. So I'm not gonna, well, maybe I should. No, I'm not. What's being put in handcuffs and being detained for a little while and getting a ticket over saving the lives of my future nieces and nephews, Turner said about the 2:45 mark in the video. This isn't a well individual. Most of them aren't. Draper in an American flag, she'd become the symbol of bigotry, fear, and rage overnight. She'd be an adult Nick Sandman, and this time she'd be allegedly committed and this time she'd allegedly committed a serious crime. In this case, readers have to wait until the 9th paragraph of this KCBS story to find out the group she was active in, and the fact that it wasn't, by any stretch of the imagination, conservative. I don't think you need much imagination to figure out why that was. Tatiana Turner will dissipate into the background with all due rapidity. There's no lessons about how divided we are right now. To be grokked from her alleged crime, even though she should, by rights, be the symbol of the kind of out-of-control rage these protests engender. Absolutely. Attempted murder from a woman determined to become a martyr. That's how far political divisiveness on the left has allegedly gone, and the mainstream media is just going to ignore it. This article appeared originally on the Western Journal. All right, well, let me check our time here, and we are at 57 minutes, so I don't believe I think we're done for tonight, but I will be back tomorrow. Now, I have lost some of the articles that I was working on, and I'm very upset about that. It's my own fault. But I will be working on some new ones for you tomorrow. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. Well, you have a wonderful evening. You stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. That's all we can do right now. We can pray and we can seek the truth so that we know the truth for ourselves. The truth will set us free. So thank you guys so much for listening and being patient with me. I really appreciate it. And I love you guys. I really do. I love seeing your comments and everything. So it's fun. It's fun interacting with you guys. I hope you feel the same. Anyway, good night, guys. And you have a wonderful evening. Good sleep. Good night.